Hello, everyone. It's amazing to be here, or?
Yes, it
After
is.
2 years, being back on stage here live to see you all makes me very, very happy. And I think when we talk about trends and when we look back to the last years of trend evolution, then we can see how the society and the environment has influenced our trends. And that means after Corona directly, we had a lot of fun, or it was necessary to going back to have fun. We was happy to going out to, see a lot of friends having fun again, and all this was also inspiring by doing hair trends. So that means after Corona, we saw hair with a lot of color, with a lot of dynamic colors, vibrant colors. All the haircuts we have created was cutted with a lot of texture. So that means what we want to get back was just fun.
Yeah, so true. But now we came in a stage like, okay, we had a lot of fun, we had a lot of festivals, it was a great season, but is it really that fun? Because we are still in war. We still have the environment that's not going well. So people are still in process. They are protesting against the government, against everything that goes around in the world. So what do you see hair-wise? You see a lot of rebel, you see a lot of against everything. So if you look at all the hair that we made, and if you look at the outfits, it's a lot of black, it's a lot of leather, maybe some strong colors in between, but it's a lot of simplicity, but also a little bit, we say always, fucked up, because sometimes we feel a bit and negative. So let's see what we can do with the models that we have here.
Exactly. Let's have a look to our first model. It's Leah. Leah, please come to us. And what we have created from the haircut, I have created a two-level haircut. So that means when you get the impression from the front, it's the impression of a bob haircut. But at the back of the head, we leave all the hair longer, and it's totally disconnected to the top of the head. And what I really, really love at the moment when we talk about haircuts to create texture. And thereby I combine cutting the hair in some areas with the scissors to create shape. And to create the texture here at the back of the head, I used the razor. So that you can see everything from the length. Also, it's very, let's say edgy, and you can say each hair piece is, it's very textured and very, very soft. And what we have created on Leah as well, it's, let's say, a little hidden element, and we call it, what you said, a little bit that fucked up punkish thing. So what we did here, when she is elevating the fringe to the other side, which is also very nice, then you can see here underneath, we just took an error and just shave it. Why not doing this? So for us, it's very interesting. It's rebellious. It's a little bit against every rules we have. And that's the feeling what we feel when we talk about haircuts at the moment.
Yeah. So what does it mean for color-wise? Because we had so much fun, it was colorful, but now I see the change that it's not becoming so colorful anymore. We still have contrast within colors, but we see more block coloring, we see more edgy coloring, but all the colors are more muted. So if you talk about apricot, it's like a muted apricot. Or as you can see here color-wise, what we did is it is colorful, it is strong because I work with block coloring, but it's all muted. So the base color we used a 5A, 2A, and Pure Pigment's Cool Violet. And then on top of the head, we pre-lightened it first. And then the first one is with 6SB, 8CA at PB, and Cool Violet. And the other one is with Illumin Play, Metallic Berry. So you have that combination of those really muted, blaked colors. What I did technique-wise, on top of it, I didn't do like root shadow and the end slider. I did a zigzag technique with only the two placements. You had a nice tail comb.
You are very good prepared.
So if you pull it down, can you let down, Leah? It's technique-wise very simple. So you have like a zigzag, so here you have a shade of the berry underneath. Then you have a block color of the 8SB with HCA PB. And then here you have 2 shades again. One here and one in the back. And because they are very muted, the tonality comes into each other. So it's a strong application, block coloring, but together it's very soft and subtle. And I think in combination with this haircut, it's just an amazing look.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Leah.
Then let's have a look to our next model, is Amelia. And here's also, I played around with shape and also with the texture. And here you can see we work with a very nice and asymmetrical haircut because we also want to give it a very, very strong impact to the haircut. So it means on this side, we keep the hair a little bit longer and created a very, very sharp line to the face with a concave shape. At the nape area, we worked with the block graduation just to build a little bit more shape here to the occipital bone area. And then to the other side, underneath, we cutted everything short also with the block graduations to create a very hard line underneath here as well. And to break all that very strong feeling, we also integrate some textured hair, and that means the hair from the top of the head, we just lay it disconnected, and then working with the razor to bring the texture in, and I think that makes it very interesting, and yeah, it's not just an asymmetrical or geographical haircut, it has always both texture and shape.
Nice. And I think what is great with this, because the haircut is so strong, you don't need a lot of colors going on in the haircut. So what I did is I did just like a hard line, if we talk about going against everything, going against the rules. I did base color a beautiful blonde, as clear as possible. And then my technique was asymmetrical in combination with the line in front. So you have this beautiful concave line, and what I did is I did the opposite section of my hard lines. And I used a lumen play black, and the top is with mint green and pure green, a drop of it. But I think it's cool that instead of going together with my line, I did it the opposite, so you have that rebellious feeling in it again. And I think that makes it really cool if you work with these hard lines, that black and white, because it's more that rebellious feeling. And I think it's really nice in combination with this haircut. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think it's time for our models, huh?
Absolutely.
Let's do some work.
Let's bring them on stage. So my first model today is Isabel. And on Isabel, I want to create a haircut. It's between a mullet and a pixie. So let's say it's a, between a mullet and a pixie. I forgot the word. But what I have prepared before was that I cut all the sections underneath quite short, and then I create a very strong line also here to the outside. So everything from the head shape to the outside from the side sections, it's totally disconnected. And the same I did to the front, to the back. So that means I separated a section, which was like a square section here to the crown area, and everything underneath I cut it from very, very short to the longer out sections here. So I keep it, so that gives me really that shape of a mullet. And on the other side I did the same. So everything is very, very short to the head shape. And what I want to cut now is to blend the outsides here into the lengths I have created here, and therefore I'm using the razor. And then on top of the head, I want to create, let's say, disconnected sections, which all laying over each other, and each section is cut coming from shorter hair to longer hair to the outside. And that creates a lot of texture to the top of the head, so that I get the feeling on the end, also for the top, it's more like a pixie. So, good luck for me, and good luck for you, Isabel.
So then over to me. What I'm doing here is, if we talk about those negative feeling, I wanted to do something really cool. and especially with blue. I think blue is going to be a big trend this year. And I did all these muted colors. So the base color I'm going to do with the Top Chic. It's the 8 SB in combination with 6 SB and 8 CA at PB to give you that grayish, natural feeling. And then all the other colors are with Illumin Play. First one is the mint green in combination with blue. So you get really this turquoise feeling. Then I have a metallic silver with a drop of black in it. And I have a pastel lavender combining with some violets. So you have really those muted colors in between. And I just want to have a beautiful flow, very soft, very subtle, that you don't see any lines. So what I'm creating now is I'm starting with my root color. Then I'm continuing with my silver to the ends. And then sometimes I'm using my blue, the other time I'm using my violet, just to give you that flow of color. And every section I'm doing something different. So then in the end, it's coming all together. But I always make sure that my ends are going to be the same color as my root application.
So on my model, first of all, I started to cut a fade from the short hair to the longer hair here, so that I have a light transition from this. And then I'm just going to the outsides and working with a horizontal section with horizontal skimming, just to reduce the length a little bit. So, and when I blend the sections, or when I cut my transition from the short to the length, then I always keep an eye that I don't cut too much from the length off, because I also want to have a little bit more the feeling of there is here. That's not have too spiky, not too thin, not too textured. And that's why I keep it a little bit longer. Now to the top section. First of all, I start with the section directly to the front. And I elevate this with horizontal sections, horizontal lines. They're around 2 to 3 centimeters. And then I'm starting it, beginning in the middle with vertical sections. So that means all the hair is cut at vertical. Everything is elevated parallel to my section line. And then I start from short, create very short hair, and keep the length longer to the fringe. And that gives a lot of texture and gives a very playful and punkish feeling to the fringe. And the next, I don't following my guideline. What I do is just going back to my section I have created before, and to create balance, I just use this shortest point to be orientated for my next section. But the whole section in the internal is totally disconnected to the previous. And that means that gives a lot of movement afterwards as well. So that's what I do in the whole section. Starting always from the shortest point and creating shorter hair to longer to the fringe. So in all the section, when I come towards to my head round, it's over-directed to the middle, so that I a little bit keep the length longer, so that I have an overlay feeling here to my shorter sides as well. And therefore, I just over-direct it, just straight forward to me. Then you can see everything, it's a little bit more lighter, it's a little bit more thinner, and then I just create a little bit more edginess. Do it totally freely. Maybe you can come from the other side, Mr. Cameraman. Can you? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So, and for those hairdressers who know me, I always love to creating texture by using my scissor. But since a year, I think, I really, really love to use my razor again. So really the texture which comes out is very special and it is so fast. And so for me, it's also new, keeping let my scissor in my pocket and just using a razor. But it makes fun and it's very interesting to create that kind of texture. So for those of you who love to working with the scissor, just try it out and I'm sure you will have that fun as I have. So, last one on this side. And it not have to be very regular. So it's just random that I have some shorter, some longer points inside. So then the next section, it's the same. I work with the horizontal section to create my next panel. And doing the same, but this level is totally disconnected to the one underneath. So that means I start also from short, cutting to longer, but the longer ones in this section will overlay to the section underneath. And that's the thing what gives a lot of texture. So you can see, just starting from longer, again, to shorter to the end of the sections. So there gives a lot of movement texture, so it's very, very playful, and you will love it doing your stylings on this kind of texture.
So what I'm doing here with my technique, I make sure that it's very muted. So make sure that the colors blend. It doesn't have to be that clean. Normally you want the lines very clean. But in here, because we talk about going against everything, it can be a little bit more edgy, a bit more rough. It doesn't have to be as clean as what you normally would do. So always make sure that the ends that you use are the background foundation as your top color. So my top color was 8CA PB, 8SB, and 6SB. So it's a very muted level 8, 7 top sheet color. So your root stretch can be a bit lower. And then you put in all your beautiful colors. So my underneath was starting with blue, so I'm not continuing with my blue. I'm getting my gray, and from my gray I go like a really long stretch to the ends, and then the ends I'm going to do with my lilac, and then background foundation in the ends again. So first my gray. And it doesn't have to be horizontal lines. You can just move over, that you really have those soft lines going from left to right.
So for my last section, that's the only connection I create on top of the head. It's from the crown area, so from the shorter hair I've created from the back. So I just put it up and use this as my shortest line to create also the last section disconnected to the sections underneath. So I start from here, using that point and going into my longer hair pieces. Oh, and together with the color, I totally love the texture and the feeling of the fall of the hair. And the color what we have made is, for sure, it's made by Agnes. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, of course. So the colors that I did with Isabel is when she came in, she was green. So I pre-lined the hair first till level 8, 9. And then what I did everything with colorants. And I did the root color with colorants pastel lavender combining with 6SB. So you really have that cool lavender, but on a level 7-ish. And then the ends we did with pastel peach combining with cool pink. So you have beautiful muted colors, not as strong as you would normally take. But I think it's a great combination, especially with the haircut that Sascha is doing. So it's a very simple technique. Just root a bit darker, and the ends you keep a bit lighter, and the contrast between cool and warm as well. The last sections that I'm doing my root application, and then in the ends, I'm only taking my gray, so that it's very soft and subtle for the rest colors. So the gray is coming on top of all the other colors that I did.
So, then I'm also done. And I'm just checking the outlines a little bit because the hair from top is totally disconnected. So I just blend it in a little bit, but keep it from the length like it is, so that we really can play around with that nice feeling of the texture. So together with the stronger and shorter side sections, I think it really gets that punkish feeling. So it worked. The impression is very rebellious, just not following the roots. I really love it, and so I hope you too. So when I work with my styling now, I'm going to use Dust Up because I really want to play around with the texture. And for me, Dust Up is the right product to give it a little bit that feeling of roughness, and it supports my texture I have created. Just applicate it.
Just put a clip in. So my color technique is done. Let's process it. And then on the second round this afternoon, you will see the end result with the styling that I'm going to create. Thank you.
And when I do this, I really love to just move the hair, taking a look what the hair is doing, and don't doing too much styling that each hair is laying by side or to each other. So it just have that unregular feeling what it needs. So, and due to the technique we have used and also the Dust Up, I don't need the hairspray or something. I just can let it hair very natural, working with the texture and together with the product. So, really love that. So, that's it. That was our first part, so thank you. We hope you like it. See you soon.
You know I gotta come back.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you, and I hope you can join us this afternoon for some styling, some new cutting techniques, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah. And be here at, I think it's 1, right?
I have no idea, 1,
So
1:30?
be here at 1 because then you can see the final result of Agnes' wonderful hair color.
Yes.
So see you soon.
Enjoy the next part.
See you. Bye.